the beginning it would be good to have a precise what you see, to precise what is the difference in fact, it's the general difference between Eastern, what you say, something more concrete, because in general I don't see much differences in fact. And about literature, I think it's easier to say that the literature like Dostoevsky or someone like this could happen in Eastern countries, together also with some cinema in Eastern countries, because of environment, and not that the cinema took something from writers. It's not really direct influence. Because if we talk about Dostoevsky and any of Russians, so it's Russia. Russia is different, very much different from every Eastern country. But American cinema also has its very special status because they were the first who started, let's say, the business cinema, and at that time it was only one visual thing. There was no television, or it was developed more or less much later, and they were making business from the very beginning. And this continent and this country was never occupied since that time. It had no wars inside the country, like it didn't have very much of political changes, which happened even in Italy. Everything was very much moving, so they could, and what they do still till now. They are just recreating things. They are gathering from all the world, like, everything, and then preparing it to sell. And that means that they are preparing it to as much audience as they can achieve. And of course, you don't count intellectual things, nothing, as much audience as you can. So they're doing that without much disturbances for a long period. So they could create such an industry, and then they could invade. Yes, it's just a normal business what they do, and that one. Also, there is another story about the Indian cinema. Again, it's about that India has and but they have also very strong reason to do that, because there's so many people who are more or less already on the level that they could go somewhere, but they still don't read. Yes, because there is circumstances to do that. Russia, there are two special things. One is that Russia is very much different, and I can tell what I think why it is. Because in the 15th century, around that time, Russia was small and was weak, and it was occupied for 200 years, kept by Mongol Tatar tribes. So, in fact, the nation has been changed to semi-Tatar, to kind of another people. That is, you can see Russians like this. But in that, with this, because the Mongol Tatars, the 200 years they were coming to every village, every city. They were killing men, raping women. 200 years, so it's rather long. It's not 50 years. And they changed the nation, and finally the result you can see now. They cross the border. Next, after you cross the border, 10 kilometers go inside this small city or village, you will find very different situation from every country which is settled on the land. find gardens without flowers, just with garbage and so on. It's a kind of, a little bit not. It's not. People are not connected with this land. They are ready to move, and they are not moving, so that it makes some kind of strange feeling. And it's very, very total in Russia. If you can pick up the St. Petersburg, which was built by Italians and so on in one time, it's like for architecture and so on, it's another story. Or Moscow, which is a country inside Russia, because there are 5 times more countries than in Lithuania, but it's exclusive. In real Russia, you have this feeling of doesn't matter what happens. Doesn't matter. We live now, do something now, or we don't do at all because there is no need. So, and that was also stronger because of 70 years movement of tyrants, of Stalin, of Communist Party. So this reason, and the next reason that cinema in Soviet time, also for 70 years, in Lithuania for 50 years, had very special place. Very special. It was very good financed in comparison without any attempt to be commercial. But it was very hard time also it was very politically controlled. So you could not do any problem. You could not show any problem which happened.
Of course, but if you are a good director, you can make it like subliminal.
Yes, it's what most of the people were doing. But how it happened also, because after 17-year revolution, Mr. Lenin even 25 years ago, before the Soviet Union crashed, even in Vilnius you could find huge letters writing that for us the most important art is cinema. It's like like posters. It was everywhere in Soviet Union, and Lenin, written Lenin, and his sentence was told rather soon after revolution, yes. And it has no end, and on these posters it had no end, and many people, most of the people did not know where it came, how it ended, and it was ended like that because only cinema can make for our party propaganda. And as far as Soviet Union, after Lenin and Stalin, he made an idol from Lenin to be more quiet. Probably he killed Lenin, or at least made everything to get him out. But he needed support from dying people, as always. Someone teaching for, let's say, rules. Okay. So this system became very conservative, and they just were doing cinema, and they were earning money, in fact, with another story. They did not allow any foreign products to come. They were showing some films from East countries about Indians, like from, I think Yugoslavia was doing these films with Gojko Mitic and so on, about Indians in America. They were showing some melodramas from the state theaters. It has nothing to do with any political things, yes, and some films from India and so on. And the cinemas were empty, so they could program every film, each film. It doesn't matter, it's understandable, not, and so on, excluding some kind of films like Tarkovsky's, where they found some danger. So he had the very small rate of copies. And with the other ways, so there was like normal amount of copies of prints. There were about 1,000. And it's enormous, even for Hollywood. And they were putting that films in every city, every small, even village, and keeping it for 2 weeks. So anyway, people want to see cinema, even they want to go somewhere, so they would attend. Not today, 3 days later, because nothing changes. Comes one film, then it changes to another film, and changes to a set film. We have nothing to see, so we have to choose from what you have. So this system created a kind of a bit different, of course, including that point that there was, Russia, Georgia, Lithuania, very different, Muslim countries, enormously different cultures and so on in one system. It was the same system. So of course there happened a lot of things.
Fainting.
And not being able to get out of bed.
Yeah, have you been doing what I recommended? Yes.
And he keeps fainting.
Fainting.
And not being able, and he's dizzy all the time, and he's running 106.
Well, have you been doing what I recommended?
Yes, I've given an awful lot of aspirin.
You've been doing what I recommended?
Yes, I've given an awful lot of aspirin. I've given an awful lot of aspirin, and I gave him the antibiotics.
Well, have you been doing what I recommended? Fainting.
And not being able to get out of bed.
Yeah.
He keeps fainting.
Fainting.
And not being able to get out of bed.
Yes.
And he's dizzy all the time, and he's running 106. He's fainting.
Fainting.
And not being able to get out of bed.
Yes.
And he keeps fainting.
Fainting.
And not being able to get out of bed.
Yes.
And he's dizzy all the time, and he's running 106. Yes, I've given an awful lot of aspirin. And he's dizzy all the time, and he's running 106.
Well, have you been doing what I recommended?
Yes, I've given an awful lot of aspirin. Yes, I've given an awful lot of aspirin. Yes, I've given an awful lot of aspirin. And I gave him the antibiotics.
Have you been doing what I recommended?
Yes, I've given an awful lot of aspirin. And I gave him the antibiotics. And I gave him the antibiotics all the time, and he's running 106.
Well, have you been doing what I recommended?
Yes, I've given an awful lot of aspirin.
No, 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 no. No, 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 oh, no, no, oh, no, no, no.
Yeah. There was in Italy. I had no many contacts with Italy because co-production with Italy was very complicated for all these 20 years. That country was a bit out from, if you compare with Germany or France, who do that all the time, and so they have many people from foreign countries and East countries working there. So there was some distribution in Italy, but not big. One film was distributed. It was in Venice, so why? It was Freedom. Aš nesu tuo tikras, kad labai yra didelis skirtumas. Gal tiesiog yra kitos priežastys, dėl ko kas kaip būna, nes dalis mano filmų neypatingai, nes pradėjau aš taigi negaudamas niekur, tai buvo visą laiką privatus pinigai, bet mes pradėjom tai nuo kažkokio naujo stiliaus, nuo to, jis paskui buvo keičiamas, nes jisai buvo netinkamas. Tas stilius, kuris buvo priimtas, tai yra visus, tradiciniai. Gaudamas iš užsienio finansavimo ir taip toliau didesnėje dalį, man pasisekdavo ilginti laiką, o tas pats Emilis, pavyzdžiui, irgi labai norėjo.
Kaip?
Irgi labai norėjo, bet kuris, sakau, režisierių, kurie dirba ilginti laiką ir gauti tikresnį rezultatą. Vieną kartą paprastas reikalas, kuo ilgiau dirbti, kuo geriau galima darbą. Kažką pakeisti, gali aktorių panaudoti tinkamiau, negu esi sugalvojęs, nes jisai gal staiga kažkaip ir kitaip gali geriau, ko tu nežinojai. Tai viskas yra tas pats. Tai čia yra, but it's easy, I think, to answer, not easy maybe to do. It's the same for everyone who writes, who paints, who creates music. First of all, you have to express yourself. If you have nothing to say, you don't need to tell anything for another. So that's all. And so you have to find what really you can't leave not said. If you don't say something what is important for you to people, you say nothing. There is no value. It's always like that. It's the same for centuries. Whatever you do, it's even if you make a chair, if you make it how you see it, and it becomes a more expensive chair and more wanted chair if you put a bit of heart in there. So that the question to put a heart, what is it? It's yourself. It's not for yourself, but it's yourself. I can tell the first one who made the biggest influence on not of course not the style, not the anything like that, but it was a film when I was maybe 14, 15, and we were going with my friends to see some kind of, what I told you, action Indians about the American Indians or something like this. And suddenly there was a film of Roman Balayan. It's no English title. It's a flight in reality and in dreams.
Okay.
Flying in reality and in dreams. It was a Soviet film. Roman Balayan, he's not exactly Russian. So this film was suddenly about nothing to tell what about. It's about life, but very important things. And I was enormously impressed, differently from my friends, because I did not know that cinema can do like that, can make such a strong, strange and unexplainable effect. You cannot explain, you cannot say, yeah, is that why?
šitą ir per tiesį važiuoti. Ne, mes jau sukom šitą žvirkelį tipo ir važiuojam tiesiai. Ir aš galvoju, kuris įsukimas tenais. Dešiniau. Kairiau. Bet tai tipo Ažuožerį, atsimeni ten, kai važiuoji to žvirkeliu, yra nuoroda Ažuožerį, tai mes pravažiavom ar dar tiesiai? Štai gal aš turės taip išgirsti. Ne, man nepasikeis. Nežinau, mes kažkada su tomu, tokia buvo istorija. Jo, šitas. Gerai, okei.
Spaudžia ir aš ranką jam. Reikėjo fotkę padaryti. Pagrindinė mintis iš ten, kad man iš tikrųjų kas vyksta dabar Lietuvoje, tai yra tokia lempa.